Hello and welcome to Girls at ADHD.
We're so out of it today. We're so out of it.
Oh, do we need coffee or something?
I just had coffee.
Oh no. Hey everyone, welcome back to Girls at ADHD.
Hello.
Hi, in case you've forgotten, I'm Anushka
And I'm Saika.
and we have ADHD. We're also practitioners.
Yeah.
And this podcast is hopefully your one-stop shop about all things to do with ADHD. It's a bit unhinged.
It's a bit unhinged, but we made it to season 2. So this is season 2 for those who are just tuning in. Today, we are expanding further on emotional regulation / dysregulation. If you want a little bit of an introduction of what that is, we already covered a little bit of that on season 1. So have a listen to that before listening to this, or don't, it's fine. But today we're kind of delving into it a little bit more and hopefully giving you a better understanding of what it means and how you can track it and potentially be more regulated on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Dysregulation, though.
Yeah.
What does emotional dysregulation look like? What does it look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's any sense of overwhelm, even though I know things are kind of chugging along day to day.
Yeah.
Normal things are happening. Nothing extra special is happening or extra sad or extra good, but I'm just feeling uncomfortable and agitated and as if something is wrong.
Yeah. It's that physical discomfort, isn't
Yeah.
it? And you just feel a bit like off. I think for me, it's like I disassociate a little bit. Like I'm not completely present. I kind of feel like my life is happening in front of me.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling like off and irritated. And like I could have a very simple, very easy day planned out, but if anyone tries to add anything onto that, I get super irritated because I've made plans in my mind and you are now disrupting them.
Yes.
Any change in like my day or routine, like just will be like off. And it's not like it happens only on like one day.
Yeah.
When I get dysregulated, I feel like it continues for the week. Yeah.
And it usually is a everyday kind of thing, especially with someone with ADHD, especially someone who doesn't manage their ADHD or
Big time.
Never actually heard of regulation in general, because before I did and before I tried to even like intentionally think about it, I feel like I was always at this level of, I don't know, always rushing or just being stuck in bed.
Yeah, like you need to do the next thing, the next thing, and then feeling bad because you can't do the next thing, or complete paralysis. Yeah. I have clients who come in and they're like, you know, I feel really high highs and really low lows. Is there something wrong with me? And I'm like, no, this is actually really normal for ADHD because you're going to have high dopamine levels and low dopamine levels. And that's going to like affect the way that you regulate as well. But that's just like, it's such a common thing. Like people are coming in and they're just like, is this like, how come I feel shit some ways?
Yeah.
How do I feel better? And you're like, yeah, you actually need to be able to recognize your signs of dysregulation. And like, you know, for different people, those are different things. Again, for myself, it's like, if I'm feeling tired, like today, I'm definitely a bit out of it. If I'm feeling a bit like tired and more fatigued than usual, I'm like, yeah, something's up. Or if like my body, I don't know how to explain it, like I'll shake a little bit or feel a bit more like fidgety. Like that's like, I'm dysregulated today. Yeah.
Okay. Well, today we have a whiteboard. To show you visually what that might look like or feel like in your body. If you're only listening to audio, well, we'll try and explain it in words
the best that we can. And what else we're going to do is we are going to put it up on to the Instagram page and on our website, hopefully. Yeah, I'm going to count on our follow through because I feel like we will do that. But if we don't, tell us that we haven't. Yes. All right. What's the window of tolerance?
Yeah, so I maybe would start like with a little graphy thing. Trying to figure out how to say this in words.
There's a graph. It's like an owl shape for anyone who's listening but can't see. All right, your window basically goes like this. There's like a line, another line across. This is horizontal, right? There's another horizontal line across, another horizontal line across.
Yeah.
This space here is called your window of tolerance.
Yeah.
Now, everyone's window of tolerance and your capacity to tolerate good and bad things differs, right? So some people have more window of tolerance and they're able to deal with bad things better. Some people deal with things like not as well, and that just depends on life circumstances, right? But for most part, day to day, we kind of fluctuate, right? So good things happen, we're feeling okay, then bad things happen, we don't feel so good, but then we're able to pick ourselves up again.
You're able to react kind of rationally to the things that are happening around you.
Correct. And someone who is regulated can stay within their window of tolerance. And, you know, for example, like when you spill milk, you're not cracking the shits and you're not getting really upset and being like, this is the last straw. Like I have really bad ADHD rage sometimes. Small things, like my whole day will go past me and it's fine, but a tiny thing will happen and I'm like, that's it. Like sometimes I'll put the key into the lock.
Oh my god, and it doesn't like
and I'm like, oh, that's it, I'm done for today. Leave me alone. Anyway, so if you're feeling dysregulated, one of two things will happen. You either go into it's hyperarousal. If you're listening, it's at the top of the graph, and hypoarousal, which is at the bottom of the graph. What can happen is if you're feeling dysregulated, instead of staying within your window of tolerance, you will maybe start off in your window. And then you might drop really low and you might come back up really high, and then you might drop really low, stay low for a little while, really high, stay really high, drop low again. And then if you start regulating yourself, you end up back in the window. Essentially, what happens in both of these spaces, in hyperarousal, it's like your anxiety symptoms, right? You're feeling like rush. You're feeling
I would say like if you're regulated, you're kind of feeling base level calm. And then if you're in hyperarousal, you will feel, I would say, more rushed or more anxious. It's like there's like a motor running inside of you. And then hyperarousal, I would say it's the exact opposite. It's like where you feel so demotivated, you have no energy to do anything. That's how I would
demotivated and also depressed. This is where your low mood comes in. So in anxiety, it's not that your mood isn't low. You just feel you're too wired to feel low. Whereas in hyperarousal, you feel really demotivated. So what it looks like for like the average person who's going through, like if you're in ADHD or dysregulation, instead of staying within your window of tolerance, and because you're not doing the things that keep you regulated and keep you calm, or as calm as we can get, you're going through like bouts of like maybe a couple of days where you're feeling really depressed, down low, can't get out of bed, or struggle to get like the basic things done. You might end up in your normal window of tolerance, but someone adds something on, you feel like super anxious. Oh my god, why are you doing this? You know, it's like anxiety from the movie with the emotions that have feelings.
Oh yes,
Inside Out too. Yes. And then like, you know, things start feeling a bit better. You're back into your window, and then you're like, oh no, like that was too much for me to deal with. I'm so tired. I'm back down here again. You might stay in that lull for a little while, and then again up and down until maybe you start putting in some regulation stuff, and then everything feels normal again. So like, and sometimes you regulate without knowing that you're regulating. Sometimes you dysregulate without knowing you're dysregulating.
Sometimes you're like in the hyperarousal mode so much, you just decide to take 2 days off and be in bed and do absolutely nothing. And you can easily move down to the hypoarousal.
Correct. And like, you know, this is just like one model of like what stress and anxiety and being outside of your like window of tolerance can look like as well.
It's also in a sense like fight or flight mode.
Correct.
It's like, even though you're sitting at home and you just have to, I don't know, make lunch.
I would say hyperarousal is probably your like fight response. Like you want to like do something about it, and sometimes you don't know what to do. Hypoarousal is where you freeze.
So it's like you want to make lunch, but because you're not regulated, it feels like you're being chased by a bear.
It's too much. It's unfortunate. Sometimes our brains don't know the difference. It's like, I'm being chased by a bear. Stay still. Get eaten. I'm being chased by a bear. Run away. But it's not really that. It's you have to cook dinner.
Okay, cool. So what are some of the signs that you may be in hyper or hypoarousal for you?
For me, it's like I said, I think for hypoarousal, it's like the sleepiness, my sluggishness, fatigue, not wanting to do the simple things, and not being able to do the simple things, getting stuck in task paralysis is another one.
That's a big one.
Like I look at things and I'm like, I should do this, and then I don't do it. Just like excessive sleep, or the excessive need to disassociate. So I'll like watch TV and like listen to audiobooks or whatever instead of doing what I have to do. Like I'll look for or scroll on TikTok or whatever. Like that's where I end up.
I would say similar to me. So it's giving tired, demotivated, depressed, and not being able to move.
Correct. What does hyper arousal look like for you?
For me, I'm always thinking I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
And I'm always rushing, and I'm never being able to just slow down and figure things out. And I'm making way more mistakes than I usually make.
Yeah. A lot of more careless mistakes as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of irritation.
Yeah. Irritation, annoyance. Like, I feel a little bit more distance from the people around me as well. Like, I feel like I just can't cope with, like, again, I can't cope with the small things, but I'm trying to do them. And then getting frustrated because either I haven't done it properly or I have to go back and do something because I made a mistake.
Yeah. Cool. I guess the whole point of this, I hope this makes you recognize that sometimes the reason you're feeling low or irritated or in a rush, it probably means you're just not within your window of tolerance.
Yeah.
And the first step is recognizing that. And then the next step is figuring out what actually brings you into.
How do we come back here? From here.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be up here. We don't want to be down here. We want to stay within.
Yeah. And I think that's different for different people. Mm-hmm. For me, I think I've recently gotten into being more aware of my body and what my body feels like and being more in tune with my body. Yeah. That took a long time to do. But
it is hard, bro. It's hard to like figure out how your body is feeling, especially sometimes if you don't have the words for it or you don't understand what this experience is. Or if you're comparing your experience with someone who's neurotypical and you're like, why am I not feeling the way that they're feeling?
Yeah. I think it's more, I know that I'm not emotionally regulated when I feel like my body and my mind are in completely different spots.
Yes.
But by that, I mean, say my mind is always rushing and it's like overthinking, but my body is just staying in one place and not wanting to move.
Yeah.
Or my body is just moving a whole bunch and my mind's just absolutely blank and there's nothing going on.
Yeah. That's such a good example. 100%. All right. Well, how do we regulate ourselves? How do we get out of these spots?
I would say things that bring me to the present moment.
Yeah.
Not trying to think too far into the future or too far into the past.
Yeah.
And what helps me with that, journaling, because that helps me slow down my brain, especially when I'm in hyper arousal and I'm thinking too much. Slowing down, writing helps me slow down my thoughts to match where my body is.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense. So when we're in hyper arousal, we want to like do things that will slow our mind and body down. So I'm thinking like journaling's great. I love yoga for stuff like that. Movement. Grounding exercises even, like something that'll bring me into the present moment because my mind is thinking too far ahead. Cold showers work really well.
Yes. Meditation. Yeah. Things that bring you down.
Yeah.
But not too down.
Not so low.
Yeah. And then
anything that helps you to stop and pause for a minute. Yeah. Even like going for a walk in nature without like your phone, I think can be really helpful because you're not, what you're trying to do, essentially in this situation, you're almost overstimulated and hyper-arousal.
Overstimulated, that's the word.
So what we're trying to do is like reduce your stimulation and like reduce the number of things that are coming at you.
Yeah, so even like turning down the lights.
Yeah, exactly.
Like putting on earphones with nothing on.
Yeah, exactly. And just having a little bit more silence and like, I guess, reducing the number of stimuli that you're taking in. Yeah. As opposed to hyper-arousal where like you're understimulated essentially. Yes. And it's like, that's also where like a lot of the boredom aspect comes in, right? Like that was actually a question that someone sent in to us around why is boredom so excruciating for people with ADHD? And like the reason is because we feel so unproductive and agitated and just gross that we can't do stuff. Yeah. And there's not enough stimuli coming.
Not enough stimuli. Yeah. Our brain chemicals that are giving us dopamine and serotonin is gone out the window.
Correct.
There is just no will to keep going.
No. And you almost you almost need, like, what I find when I'm in hyper-arousal and I'm feeling very tired. One is rest, obviously getting enough rest and just allowing space for that and whatever that looks like. Yeah. But the second is actually getting the right level of stimulation. Like sometimes I'll be reading a book and I'm like, I love reading. Yeah. But I'm not really into this book, or like, you know, this is not the mode that I want to read in. It's not a physical copy. Mm-hmm. Maybe if I listen to that in an audiobook and fold laundry at the same time, that's the right level of stimuli. Yeah. You don't want competing stimuli. Yes. You want stimuli that are like different enough from each other that both sides of your brain are getting engaged, or like when the tennis was on, I'd like watch the tennis and like do something else.
Yeah.
Because it's boring and it's in the background, but something's on.
Yeah. So basically, hypoarousal means you're understimulated in some sense. So do things that stimulate you and give you more dopamine and boost and motivation. And I would say movement is
Movement's
really good.
a big one there. Yeah. Like walks, gym, dancing.
Yeah.
I told a client the other day to be spaghetti. So like you stand up and you just slowly like shake it all out, and the more shaking you're doing, the more like your body starts feeling like, okay, I've got a bit of wriggle room.
Drop and give 10 push-ups, like
whatever it is, like
whatever.
Some type of movement I think goes a really long way. And then engaging in things, and you can even take baby steps, right? Maybe it's like watching a TV show that you enjoy watching and you already know the plot to. Then maybe you watch a TV show that you don't know anything about, and that's still getting your mind is starting to think a little bit more than
it's like you're trying to switch yourself and your nervous system on. In a way.
Pretty much.
And then hyperarousal is like overstimulation. So do things that slow you down. Like even the small act of like, say you're rushing out in the morning and you're like, I have to make the coffee, I have to make the food, I have to pack my bag, I have to get dressed, I have to leave. Slowing that down and telling yourself, I'll get to work, it's fine.
It will happen.
Let me just focus on making the sandwich. In the bag. And even that act of slowing down, it reminds your body that no, you're actually not being chased by a bear.
Correct.
You're fine.
And I think like that's just given me a bit of a thought around the hyperarousal side of things. When you're not able to do stuff, getting other people involved, like body doubling with someone else. So that it's because it's not like we're trying to make you anxious here, so that you can. But you need a little bit of something that gives you that push to start doing stuff. So having other people around, like you coming over this week, I did more cleaning than I normally do. Because I was like, you're coming over. And I was like, I need the house to be really tidy. And that was really great. Like, so even stuff like that can be really helpful.
Yeah. So I hope this gives you a bit of an understanding. And then I guess the point is to first figure out where your window of tolerance lies.
Yeah. Like, where can you really push the boundary of being, these things will make me anxious, but I can regulate and bring myself back down, versus the other way around as well. Like what things make me feel so low that I can't get back up.
And track that. Like spend a few days tracking it, writing down, okay, maybe when I'm doing this task, I feel I'm more overstimulated or too overstimulated. Or when I'm doing certain things, I feel too understimulated. And then even if your window of tolerance is small at the beginning, because you've never done this before, that's fine. It can grow.
Correct.
So you can make that bigger, and then you'll be able to handle stress or not stress, since both are bad.
And I like that idea of tracking, like, tracking your energy levels, tracking your mood even. Like, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Just open up your phone and put it in your notes app and be like, today was a high energy day. 1.5 or 1.5. Whatever. Like, whatever your scale is. I don't know what scale has 1.5 at the top. But anyway, you have it there, and then, you just keep tracking. If you do that for 2 weeks, you'll figure out what activities work for you and what don't.
And then once you can track it, and it's easier to identify, okay, I'm just maybe not regulated today. And then you can start incorporating different activities to see what brings you either out of the hyper and hypoarousal mode into your window of tolerance. And then you stay regulated, and then everything's great, and then it's all rainbows and roses, and then you're happy and you're okay with your ADHD.
And that happens forever. No, look, even when you learn about your window of tolerance and you understand how to regulate yourself, you're probably going to still vary from time to time. But that's okay, because we want to expand your window of tolerance and have those times that you're spending in hyper and hyperarousal minimized, I guess.
Like it's not like you do this once and then you're good.
Correct.
Like you always have to be tracking it and intentionally think about whether you're being regulated and how you can regulate yourself. Because if you don't do that, then, well, you're always going to feel like something is wrong.
Correct.
Yeah.
The other thing that I'm going to say with this is that as an ADHD, you will have a tendency to forget a lot. So when you figure out what things help you to stay regulated, make yourself like a list. Just like, hyper arousal, or, you can even just be like anxious, like overstimulated, understimulated, and just make a list of things that you can do for when you're feeling either of those things. Because trust me, when you're in those modes, you forget, like, when I'm in hyperarousal, when I'm overstimulated, it never occurs to me that I should just sit down and color. Or paint.
I know.
Like, I'm not like, that's something I can do. Or when I'm like in hyperarousal, I'm not like, oh, I should sit down and build something because that's productive.
Exactly.
Like I forget that those are things you can do.
It is, because you're already working overtime, whether it's your body or your mind, so you're not really thinking about all the extra stuff that you have to do.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you have it written down, I like to categorize mine by what activities I can do indoors and outdoors.
Oh, that's nice.
Because like, when I'm just in bed and stuff, I'm not leaving the house.
No.
So what can I do inside, which is coloring.
Yeah.
I
like that.
Yes.
Maybe even making up little kits with everything so that everything's already there, ready for you to go.
Yes.
That's like super organization, but it's been.
You'll get there, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe. Yeah.
There's a lot of hope. Look, if you are struggling with emotional dysregulation, it is something that Cypher and I can help you out with. So, feel free to like message us, book in a session, talk to us about it. Deal with like so many clients a week around this sort of stuff. And I think it's been really great. Like so many of them have come back and been like, this is feeling so much more better. Like life is feeling manageable. So we can help you like put something together for yourself if you're finding it difficult to do for you.
Yeah. And it's not like it's going to cure or get rid of your ADHD. That's not the point. It's
we can help you manage it.
It's just about, making life a bit more manageable and feeling easier. Like it doesn't always have to be, oh God, something's happening. Something's going to fall on my head. It doesn't always have to be like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that's us for today. Drop us like any comments or DMs or emails even around things that you want to hear about, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you.
See ya.
As usual, our disclaimer at the end of each episode: Girls That ADHD does not provide personalized ADHD management advice for your individual needs. Although we are mental health care practitioners, Girls That ADHD is not a substitution for therapy or counseling of any kind. Girls That ADHD exists for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon to make decisions about your mental health, well-being, and ADHD management. Advice and conversations from Girls That ADHD are general in nature and do not consider individual circumstances. Always do your research and please seek out guidance from your mental health care team or ADHD coach as required. Okay then, till next time, bye!